Hello people, and welcome back to another episode of City Showcase. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we are looking at the city of Mainland City by M. Grandella, and this thing is home to 1.5 million people, and it is absolutely vast. So the same question begs at the start of each of these episodes, it would seem, is where on earth do we start? Let's get a brief kind of bird's eye view of the structure here. He's playing on the Tampere map, or at least a very heavily modified version of it at this point. And let's just take a bit of a bird's eye perspective and just look at the scale of this thing. They have filled all the buildable space within the 529 tile radius. And it's massive. It's absolutely huge. And so I guess we'll kind of start from one corner and then just work our way forwards until we see some things that we can maybe take a look at here. So over in the bottom right, there's kind of a major CBD, and also in this episode, because this is 1.5 million people, please expect zero simulation. I'm going to leave the game paused for this showcase, because 1.5 million people does not play well with Cities 2 at the minute. So let's have a look at his road infrastructure. Some really nice interchanges through here. Very good interchange builder. Now, he has asked for tips on industry, which I'm not sure I'm maybe in the best position to give tips, but I can certainly, I guess, give some of the own advice I've picked up over. I think with industry kind of detailing them, you're often left with areas like this with the zonable grid. I think what can be handy is to kind of draw out those textures, you know, so if we were to come ahead and grab a surface, use the building itself as a bit of a detailing palette, you know. So to bring out this one here, extend these textures into the corner. Then you can use the picker to select already existing props within the building. And then with that, you can kind of create a bit of an expanded palette, if you like. This is kind of how I approach my industrial detailing in CS2 at the minute. And then it's kind of a slow and steady process, always wins the race, right? But you end up with a little bit of a fleshed out area where props can really shine around the main building, rather than just leaving it. But you know, sometimes this can be nice to leave, turn this into a bit of an overgrown area. Don't do it everywhere. But that's definitely a tip I've kind of found with my industry area, is let the building itself kind of help you detail, because they're all covered in props. And then when you're playing with the picker mod, it's super easy to do. So there's a larger industrial area here. Straight away, my eyes are drawn toward this golf course, which is incredibly cool. These are clearly textures, aren't they? Yeah, come on here, we can delete the texture. So a really cool use of the textures here to create a golf course. This reminds me very much of Phoenix or like a Florida suburb, a little bit of Gold Coast in there as well, isn't it? Without the water. We can also see there's a little crossing over here as well, which is pretty cool. Really like how they've done this. They can cross over a sunken road, which is really nice. And then there's little elevated pedestrian pathways through here as well. And just kind of looking at the general bird's eye perspective, I really love how you can see the highways kind of cutting all these suburbs in half. It's very kind of US, that perspective there, isn't it? Very, the city has a lot of good, I guess, kind of outer lying sprawl, doesn't it? You can look for miles off the horizon and watch all those highways cut through the city into the CBD. So I really like that aesthetic. I always appreciate the mass kind of outer lying sprawl builds, which is really fun. I also saw as well during my pan around, I think it's maybe a little further over toward the city centre, we'll get there eventually. I've got kind of a big American style corner here on the Artero, haven't we? With lots of car parking, very kind of like heavy strip mall vibes through here. It's a shame we can't watch the simulation play out, isn't it? Because I'm sure it would have been great to see it all move around. Yeah, I think a snail would describe this as slow, wouldn't it? But a nice big bus station on the corner here. I really love this street corner. Lots of like American-esque strip mall building with all the commercial, the offices and the parking around here. Really nice way to kind of highlight a big arterial corner like this, I think. Then we come back into the golf suburb over here. I don't think we're missing anything major in the CBD. There's a nice little park area over this way. Nice to use the water sources to create that green belt. Lots of tram systems moving through this part of the town as well, although currently backed up just due to deathly simulation speed, I suppose. And then that kind of rounds out this corner before they arrive at the lake over here, where we do have an airport that's hooked in to the national rail line over here. Like, the interchanges in this map are really, really good. The builder is incredibly good at interchanges. You'll see another example over, I think it's here as well. Really cool network work here. Different slip lanes peeling off on multiple different layers, all very close to each other as well, which can be really hard to do in CS, to merge two massive system interchanges together. You'll see lots of really impeccable road work across this city. Over this way, we just have, again, more of that endless outer-lying sprawl, nice use of beach properties before we arrive at some mining industry. Up against some of the waterways here. And then beyond that, we arrive at more industry. This is definitely keeping his production chains in flow, I imagine. Let's have a look. The tile upkeep and the service trade is absolutely astronomical. Maybe there is a mod he's using to counteract that. But pretty well balanced in the production chain. Again, we always see this, don't we? Even in my cities, the massive convenience, food, and textile deficits is always a common theme, isn't it? Maybe that is a wider bug, really. Because I was trying to fix it in Edinburgh, but if all these other massive cities are also having it as well, maybe it's just a bug, who knows? And then vast farmland comes toward the edge of the map over here, where he does have a couple of outside connections. Heading back into the dense city centre, we arrive at this thing over here where he's done a little... This is the solar plant farm, isn't it? Yeah. That's very nice. I don't think I've really seen too much of this asset. I wonder if these solar panels are pickable, are they? No, they're not, unfortunately. That would have been nice, actually, to make a little custom solar field, wouldn't it? And then we got lots more big, chunky industrial infrastructure over here. He's got a metro system mounted on the road as well. And what building is this? The post sorting facility with a couple of its upgrades. Tethered together with a server farm. Which really looks like a nice bit of industrial infrastructure there, doesn't it? I love positioning these chunky service assets on just by the highway. It's I think it adds a real sense of authenticity and realism to it, doesn't it? So many times you'll be driving on highways and pass by kind of massive distribution centers like this. So I really appreciate this kind of infrastructure up against the highway. Always pleases me. And I look at that for a sight line, right? What a wonderful skyline. Super wide, multiple suspension bridges. Absolutely fantastic. Let the simulation play a little so you can see them move down. But big arterial view. Love this perspective down here. Now you really get a sense of that sprawl from this angle, don't you? It's absolutely huge. Lovely. Love to see it. He's also done some of the custom parking roads out here too. In a big frontage system up this way. With some commercial zoning before it spills back into the outer lying suburbia. There was a university over here I'm really keen to get to. He has used a couple of the unit buildings here. This is a very nice combination, actually, of the Bell Tower and the Matt Damon building. Really cute. Love all the custom part work through here. Excellent use of the line tool. Love a bush line pathway. Even some stacked road action coming in here as well. Where is this going, I wonder? Is this serving as a bit of an express lane above the main arterial? Peels off of the main highway here, doesn't it? And where's that going? It continues as a stacked transport bridge heading into the city, which is cool. Yeah, this is like a custom one. It must be, right? These have to be individual suspension elements, do they? If I can find the one to detail them. Can we pick them? Yeah, okay, so it's suspension bridges, so custom transport bridge. Very, very cool. Almost like Thessia-esque, that, isn't it? With the stacking. Really sweet. Love to see people moving around that. So that's cool. That seems to be carrying quite a bit of traffic for him as well. Almost all of the traffic off the bottom road actually appears to be on the top, doesn't it? That bottom layer is not too busy. They definitely prefer the faster road there. But lots more larger infrastructure over this way. That's some more custom parking. And some nice use of recolor across the city as well. I love the green roof on the school. Next to the nice medical university. Heading over down here, we can see more of the unit buildings. This is the... I know it's spelt the Diet building, isn't it? But I hate pronouncing it as the Diet. I feel like that's not how it's said. I'm not entirely sure. But this is a really nice unit building and occupies, look at that. Just a wonderful view there, isn't it? How lovely is that? Super nice. We need to use this building in Edinburgh at some point. Coming down the arterials, we then arrive at lots more residential before coming into a custom university campus, where we have a college here, a couple of schools. But then he's blended in a really nice park design with the cathedral, with some trams coming through here as well. And then it comes into the university. So really nice use of the cathedral in the university district there. Something you often see a lot in Europe. That is a cathedral kind of nearby to, or integrated into the university campus as a bit of a historical kind of monument, I suppose. And a nice little fleshed out and used anarchy to bring more trees into the university park. But I really like how this whole campus space sits here against the river with the graveyard and the cathedral here. Custom part work all around it is all very tasteful. It's a really nice combination of assets here to create the university campus with lots of busy tram action too. The city does also have an extensive metro as well. I'm not sure if we can really get any discernible information from the info view. So the buses are moving 353,000 citizens a month. Holy smokes. That's crazy. And then 351,000. So a total of 907,000 people a month are moving through his public transport network, which is incredible. That's super busy. And then a fair amount of tonnage of cargo coming and going from the city as well. So it's busy. The transport lines are very busy. Leaving the university, we're kind of in the middle of the map here. This kind of pushes us over towards this side of the city. We'll save the central CBD for last, I think. Don't think I've really missed anything major over here. There are some little bits I've picked out during a bit of a brief flyover. There's another university campus over this way as well, which has been nicely put together. Integration of the sports fields too. Coming down the road from the university, we arrive at a very Phoenix, Gold Coasty type suburb with the waterways. Really nice way to use a bit of water space this with the housing. Although we did go for row homes on some of them, which is an interesting choice. You usually find the single family homes here. But honestly, I don't mind the row homes in that setting. It's not too bad at all there, is it? And again, a really nice view. Whenever you get low to the ground around here and just look across the skyline, you have really, really impressive cityscape over there, don't you? I really like this skyline. Super nice. This continues up towards the edge of the map, I believe, again with more really nice suburban road layouts over here. Coming back to that golf course we looked at earlier as well. Coming over towards the edge of the map, there's more university campuses, lots of education infrastructure. How is he actually doing for that? Surprisingly, he has just about managed to keep up with elementary. That deserves a round of applause. I'm not sure if we're playing with the double capacity education mod. I know a lot of people do. But he has managed to keep up with education, or at least elementary education demands, which is commendable in a city of 1.5 million people, absolutely. Then we just have more endless outer-lying sprawl here. There's more university districts up against the waterfront. Before we do arrive into some larger towers, and a little bit of a circular farm field over here as well. And then we then peel off from, again, some really nice highway work, lots of elevation and stacking roads around this part of the city, which is really nice to see. Don't really see too much of the stacked road mechanic being utilised. It's, I almost kind of forget it's even there sometimes, to be honest, but it is really cool. Before we then arrive into a recoloured airport, which I have to say, the red recolour on the international airport is really nice. It actually makes me like the asset a lot more than it is when it's just placed down. So a little bit of recolour goes quite a long way, I think, doesn't it, for bettering some of the assets. This is partnered with a regular airport too, so it's kind of really broken up the boxiness of the international airport, which I think is one of the things I really don't like about it. It just looks so square and rigid and a little bit like the runways are really like dumpy and short, aren't they? But he's used some textures here to kind of draw out, you know, a natural taxiway that you would expect to find. So that's really creative. I really like to see things like that. Very inspiring as well to combine both airports together to create that larger airport complex. We've got a little mini industrial port over here, which is, they're the post sorting things, aren't they? Yeah, the storage expansion. Which is actually quite a nice way to kind of create a little bit of a jut out into the harbour, isn't it? Just placing the extensions like that. He's drawn a road around this side as well. I guess you don't want to keep it going all the way around. You won't get the key aesthetic there, of course, but you could do that if you wanted to, but I really like how that sits. I'll have to remember that one. Then we've got the cargo train terminal storage warehouse over here as well. It's a nice little industrial area. We then come onto this big, chunky 6-lane highway road. What's this? 8? It's 8, isn't it? Yeah, it is 8. Which is huge, with some riverside trains just about crawling along, which is very nice to see. And then this goes off into a really interesting bridge, or tunnel rather, sorry. Now I believe this is the design of City Sculptor. I remember seeing these little circular kind of designs off the edge of the coast from yeah, kind of a City Sculptor video where he talked about this sunken tunnel system that goes under, which is a really cool design. It's cool to see some of City Sculptor's designs in here as well. He's a great builder. If you haven't checked him out, definitely search him on YouTube. He's got some really good ideas. And then this emerges out the other side up here, which is really nice way to using some pedestrian pathways to kind of double it up as that infrastructure, you know? It's all very creative. I really like to see things like this. And then a little bit of kind of service industry out here as well, before those little island rings do pop back up this way. Even got a watchtower out on one of them as well, which is quite cool. So that's a really nice bit of road and transport infrastructure here, isn't it? I really like how that looks. Very fancy. We come with some more cut-out ports here, which I'm not sure if he's planning to fill these out, because I'm assuming they're not supposed to be forest. Maybe this is planned industrial infrastructure. That kind of looks like it with the way the keys are all cut in, doesn't it? I really like this big port entrance in here too. I definitely have a cargo harbour in here, so you can see ships coming and going out of this. That'd be absolutely awesome, wouldn't it? That's really cool. We come on to the outside connection and generic industry over here. Before we do arrive back and think at what is just more zoning with the industry and the landfill. Multiple rail yards over here. This is great, isn't it? Look at this. We got subway yards. This is a nice way to kind of piece them all together, isn't it? With the road going through. That's very grandiose, isn't it? And they're all looping back through here against the buildings. Back under as it completes its loop, and then assuming that leaves here, does it? Yeah, straight underground there for his subway system. That's really cool. I like how that's all pieced together. Looks very industrial, that, doesn't it? Very nice. And we then head back into more vast amounts of industry. This is a great example here. I think you wanted advice on kind of what we talked about earlier with using the prop pallets. Another great space, like if you want lots of open industrial space like this, using the better bulldozer tool to remove the fences off of them can really help open it up. And then again, you can use that same process we did earlier just to expand those pallets and kind of turn this area here into that larger storage yard, you know. It's really how I find a lot of the fun with the zoned industry, I think, is if you're looking for tips on it. I think it really helps me anyway. We then keep heading over here where we can see a number of the factories. It looks like there's a lot of service industry over here as well, garbage collection. There is also the paper factory over here as well, which is a beast of an asset, isn't it? And then this is just one huge giant industrial harbour, really, this corner of the map. There's multiple cargo hubs over here. I really love this. This is a great combination of buildings. We've got the fuel plant over here, the chemical plant and the oil refinery. It's the same combination we use in Edinburgh's oil area. And they all pair with each other really nicely, don't they? I think the industrial view here with the big CBD on the other side is very impressive, isn't it? I really like how that sits. Super nice combination, this one. I love that. And then coming down into more industrial infrastructure, lots of port vibes, a little bit of a breakwater here as well, or like a bit of a rock wall at least, around all the industry. Lots of containers, which we love to see. Look at this as well. Yes, look at that. Oh, that's so nice. That is awesome. That is very, very pretty. I love that. Super cool. Containers, detailing, and decals always go a very long way in an industrial port like this. Very authentic, isn't it? Oh, look at this as well. Love the prop work. This is awesome. Why on earth are you asking for ideas on how to detail industry. You have this nailed. This is perfect. Yes, all these spare trailers. Oh, yes, the train tracks coming in here as well. This is gorgeous. This is very nice industrial prop detailing. Decals down as well. That's very inspiring. A really good port. Definitely one of my favorite bits of the city, this. All very naturally expanded here, isn't it? Fantastic work. Love to see it. There's more of it over here too. Absolutely awesome. Love to see it. Love to see it. That then completes the industrial port. We've also got a nuclear plant over here as well with lots of sewage processing, which is nice to see. And then I think that pretty much rounds out this area of the map over here. We've also got another rail yard configuration over here as well, which is nice, just doubled up against each other. I've always wanted to try this actually. I really want to play with some orientation for these rail yards. I think we'll maybe spend an episode in Kokai looking at a massive rail yard configuration. Or maybe Edinburgh might be more suited for it. At some point, just kind of piecing these assets together and using all the huge rail infrastructure to really kind of bulk it out, make it look a bit more realistic. Because rail yards in real life are obviously absolutely enormous, for the most part at least. Yeah, and that kind of ties off this corner of the map before we cross back over here again, where we're playing with some really nice waterway work here. He's really used the waterways quite creatively here to kind of chisel out different bits of infrastructure, be it for residential in the suburbs or the industrial waterfronts. There's also really nice work going on over here too. Over the kind of an edge of town, CBD, we've got another sunken tunnel over here as well, which I'm guessing is emerging out of here, isn't it? It is indeed. So he's a big fan of that sunken tunnel design. It's a nice way to cross the waterway actually. Kind of saves you the dominant, because I think sometimes if you do want to cross the water a lot, you can have too many suspension bridges, you know. So it's nice to see the variation in the infrastructure like that. Coming to a bit of a micro CBD here, where there is a train station that is a very short line. That's just straight to the outside connection, is it? I think it is. It doesn't go any deeper into the city than that. And then that pretty much brings us back to where we were. By the way, if you can hear the sound of a small crackling fire in the background, don't worry, that is just my PC. It's not happy running this city whilst also recording in 4K, let me tell you. This over here, yeah, this is what I wanted to show. Look at this. This is a really nice fusing of European mixed use. He's got all the mixed use assets in here, and then he's formed them into kind of a bit of a shape here. It's really cool. Nice road through the middle. You could have even done this, I think, as pedestrian road would have been really nice. But that's a really great example of vanilla asset fusing. Piecing all these cool buildings together. I'm guessing this is just maybe a bit of anarchy coming back through with these trees, or maybe they were supposed to have planters under them. Something went a bit wrong here maybe, but really like how he's got these internal courtyards. Decorate, you could easily get more prop work in here as well. Fountains and benches, gazebos and the such like. But he's got all these real life posters. Are these from Sully? I think they are, aren't they? I'm sure these are Sully's brand pictures. But really cool. He's got some Vision Pro billboards up there, Coke, Airbnb, which is a very nice addition to a high street, isn't it? Just to see some brands like that. Really helps the city pop. But I love this fusing. This is a great idea of using these mixed use towers to form a much larger single building. Very nice indeed. Again, more really nice kind of custom parking work too. I think sometimes advice with these areas, because he's also asked for advice on commercial areas too. I think sometimes this is a problem I suffer with as well. Is it's possible to go, I think, too heavy with the surfaces sometimes. I think maybe chiseling out kind of some areas internally like this to remain green and fill with trees or rocks or something and really help break that up a little bit. That's definitely what I try to do as well. Leave little slithers of grass or use more grass surface if you want to use the surfaces, but just something to break up the relentless grey. I think sometimes when you have a big patch of one surface, it can look a little daunting. So I think kind of mix and match or break up the surfaces a little bit can always be a big help for me anyway. Beyond that, we now arrive over these sections here. We haven't really checked out this CBD, have we, on the waterfront? Let's get down here, shall we? Look at this. Really nice pedestrian waterfront along here with lots of appropriate car parking. Really, really cool. Look at this. And then it's totally dominated by this skyline, which is great. Really love this bit of the city. Lots more texture as well. Lots of kind of authentic walkable pedestrian space that you'd find on a city centre waterfront like this. Very nice indeed. I'll have to remember this layer here: pedestrian road, custom parking, invisible road, and then you get to the actual city road. Is a very nice kind of waterfront layer here. I really like that. More intercity parking with another bus hub over here, and you can see there's 350,000 Sims using his bus network over here, can't you? There is a lot of people over here. Some of the faces in here are still fantastic, aren't they? Yeah, the high heels with the blue socks, the shorts, and the hoodie. It's a bold fashion statement, isn't it? I think, to say the least. So really busy bus infrastructure, which is nice to see in the middle of the city here. It's got another one of the unique buildings. There's a big train jam coming in here into the station. I don't know whether this is a severe jam. It looks like it might be backing up a little bit here with intercity services trying to collide with internal maybe. More tram infrastructure. Nice little elevated pedestrian crossways here. I like seeing stuff like this. And then a ferry terminal. Again, with a lot of people waiting for those buses, which is nice. It would have been great to see even a slither of walking porn around here, but it's not going to happen. I really hope the simulation speed increases. It's a shame not to see these really busy cities hustle and bustle around. More custom car park we're here with well, this is a proper one, isn't it? But it has decals on it, is what I mean to say. Sorry. With even some of the tire marks around here too. So some of the disabled people have been doing donuts around this way. Very nice. And then this spills back into more skyline. A little bit of recolor going on here as well with some highlights of the green buildings on the towers. And then this eventually spills out back into that endless residential sprawl. Before we can finally turn our attention towards the main CBD space right in the middle of the map. So there's another great little park area down here, the use of the Ferris wheel with more parking. And a nice little island for the bronze statue, whatever it's called. Is it the bronze statue? Statue of Positivity, apparently. It's not the bronze statue. But nice little island here with the rocks going into the sea. Really like that. Custom expanded part work up to the unique. That's a really nice positioning for the asset there, isn't it? I think that's really pretty. Great job there. Then we can come back onto the mainland. And see this real cool train corridor passing right into the sea. I really like that. Actually, having just been to Helsinki recently, this is very similar to Helsinki. It crosses the water. Not Helsinki, sorry, Tampere. It crosses the water into the train station. It's really cool. Really like the Central's hub here. And then with an absolutely enormous skyline, made up of mostly kind of residential and office towers, this looks like, doesn't it? Let's see if we can find this main street through the road here. So big suspension bridge coming over. Traffic in the city is really good. Can we get some kind of baseline reading? What is the percentage? 60%, although, you know, you look at that and this is apparently a red road, but I guess it's all down to the rush hours, isn't it? It probably gets fairly busy then. But this is a really nice main street drive, right? Look at this. Right through the city, big wide roads. Little slip lanes peeling off here as well into the Golden Gate Bridge up there as well. That's a really nice viewpoint there, isn't it? Those big highway roads swooping down into the city to join up with the main arterial here. That's I know the bridge is San Francisco, but this very much reminds me of New York. Looking at some of the bridges, how they enter into Manhattan Island. This is very similar. It's very cute, that. And then we'll go down the road. Again, there's lots of people walking here. I'd love to watch you walk, but unfortunately, my PC says no. Again, they're all, look at that absolute conga line back into another bus station. This has got to be the busiest buses ever, right? This is mental. It's just, every platform and hub is just dying to be used. It's really cool. This drops us right in the middle of the CBD here, where we've got some more of the unique towers. There's sports pitches integrated in here as well. Look at this waterfront bridge here. There's some really interesting stacking going on. Let's have a look what's happening here. So, oh, this is that bridge we were looking at earlier, was it? Yeah, so this is the custom suspension bridge. This is where it arrives. And then there's a little slip lane to get on here. How do you actually get off of it? Does it just peel off and then join the, kind of, I guess, the ring road of the island here, isn't it? As it comes down. It gets pretty tall around here as well. I'm guessing these are to be finished, are they? Maybe he's planning some industrial infrastructure for the downtown here. Right, we've seen a couple of these kind of unfinished, as kind of quays and little ports, jetties, marinas, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, there's some more around here as well. Alright, I think we can even see a little bit of a industrial building over here as well. Yeah, one of the transformers is down here. So maybe planning a little bit of an industrial port might be nice here. That'd be quite cool. And I think in the city, we're not missing anything major. We have another unique building over here. Again, with some really spaghettified slip lanes coming off of that outer ring road that we saw earlier. But look at this here as well, like really cool layering for a downtown, that isn't it? I think it's quite cool for when you come into a CBD like this now to be able to think much more vertically with your roads, and you kind of worrying how you're going to get all that infrastructure in one space. You can now just place it all the way down through here. What building is this? This is the Waveform Tower. I haven't seen this one before. This is a unique residential building, isn't it? It's very nice though. I like that. I reckon two of these together might actually be really nice. Give a bit of a slight Twin Towers vibe, mightn't it? With kind of a larger plaza space around the bottom. I'll have to remember that one. And then this peels back onto the waterfront, where he does actually have some pollutive industry right in the downtown here as well. I'm guessing this is garbage management, is it? Yeah, so imagine a city of this size needs pretty intense garbage management. Another university, which is a great downtown waterfront asset, isn't it? He's anarchied a pathway in through here as well, so he has a really nice, which is even getting use, which you love to see. A really nice waterfront walk for his Sims in the downtown. And you get a real impression of that skyline too, don't you? I love how there's multiple different angles to each building. Not every building's kind of facing the same direction. That's really down to his road network as well to allow that sort of thing to come to fruition. Look at that. That's a great shot, that, isn't it? Really, really nice skyline. Big fan of this. Really pretty. We've got all this riverfront park. I guess it's oceanfront park really here, isn't it? That continues. Lots of really nice rock work. Great use of the riverbed textures as well. Just as a bit of overgrown land. And this continues all the way around, does it? Into the hospital. Yeah. Joins back up here, and then we arrive at the hospital. And I think that pretty much completes the main CBD here. Got this National Art Gallery over here as well. And occupying a really kind of important, prominent position on the waterfront. Really adding a lot of depth and sort of intrigue to the skyline. This is a great shot here as well, isn't it? It's really nice. I think kind of the bulk zoning or the mass zoning with the new towers in CS2 makes these kind of skylines a lot more viable. Because in vanilla CS1, we simply didn't have these kind of tall assets to create something like this. And when you see it to this scale with all the infrastructure around it, really, really nice work. Now we've got another one of the bridges leaving here. Let's have a look at this infrastructure here. Big kind of spiral bridges coming down. So they're just connected into arterial systems around the city. And then it does do the same thing over here again as well. Very extravagant. This reminds me of those that may have watched Target back in the day. He started a city like this once with a big swooping loop down from a hill back in the days of CS1. A shout out to Target Gaming, who we've not seen around for a while. But yeah, very reminiscent of that. Reminds me of that quite a lot. And then this pushes us back across the other side of the river, back to the road, where we did enter the downtown here. Lots of colleges sprinkled in this city too. And let's have a look at where the other bridges go to. There's this one over here, wasn't there? Again, which is really stacked high. Big swooping kind of spirals coming down here. Road police might not be super happy with that one. I don't think I'll be able to get away with it. But then this takes us back across the river. And with a really nice bridge. Look at that. Look at that bridge work. That's fancy. That is very fancy. I love that. That's a great way to just add a bit more intrigue, isn't it, around the bridge pillars. This is a single network, isn't it? I'm sure it is. Yeah, so it is just the big 8-lane suspension bridge, but that's a really nice way to use pedestrian paths around the base there. Almost kind of like a safety barrier, isn't it, for the ship almost, so it doesn't collide with the pillar. Very cool. This joins back into the main road district over here, where there is another interchange back into his much wider highway networks that we saw earlier. If we can hopefully let the simulation run, it doesn't move very quick, granted. But it would be great to see these interchanges in full flow, wouldn't it? Especially with all the trains moving around here coming out of the rail yards after having just been sort of maintained and serviced. It's very cool. But unfortunately, the PC does not like letting the simulation play, so we can't really get away with it. There's loads of little intricate slip lane work coming from all different directions. This one scrolls away under here, then peels off into more slip lanes back onto the highway. So really compact, very vertical interchanges, which is pretty much the general rule of thumb for the most of this city. There's some really inspiring and interesting network features over here. We've got another bridge here that runs off from a couplet up to the observation, unique that is in Tampere. Again, really using these islands as kind of like tourist hotspots. Really like how you did this over here. And we have just got a bit of tree anarchy coming through, haven't we? I'm assuming this wasn't made like this. And then that peels off into more custom car parking up to a telecoms tower. Very nice indeed. Very nice. And I think that pretty much rounds out most major features that we saw. I will have another pass by of the city again to make sure I've not missed anything major, but really the whole size and scope of the city here is really just something to take home, isn't it? Another big university up against the arterial here. I got one of the what's this one called? The Health Research Institute. Still not familiar. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's very nice. I'm glad we stumbled across that. That's really cool. I love the connecting kind of sky bridges between two buildings, and that's a great way to factor in the Health Institute with the hospital. That's a great use of that feature. Really, really cool. You could even anarchy these through the buildings to connect them back to ground level. So you'd see people walking across the bridge like they are transitioning between kind of two wings of a hospital complex. I have to remember that one. That's a great use of that. Super, super inspiring. And this big bus arterial goes down here with lots more custom car parking. There is a lot of custom car parking here, isn't there? I was almost saying maybe you just need the one layer through here, but honestly, I kind of love that aesthetic. The bushes, the hedges, these are, assuming these are hedge net lanes, are they? I can even begin to see them. Yeah, they are net lanes. But that's really cool with the palms. The lights in here as well. I really like that custom car parking design. And I always love a frontage network too. It's all very nice. Look at this as well. Big bus lane. 8 lanes with palms. Very, very cool. And then again, that design between the arterial before his sprawl begins. Either side. So I really love the networks in this city. It's really, really fun to explore. We can see a lot of recolor at play here as well in the homes. This makes a big difference, doesn't it? Recoloring some of these beach properties stuff. The red roof is definitely a vibe, isn't it? All the way through here as well has all been recolored. Which I think it really helps with just kind of creating a bit of asset variation, doesn't it? Especially from the bird's eye view, they look like particularly different assets, just slightly different coloured roof rather than the endless grey and brown of vanilla. It's, I think, well, right there is a chalk and cheese example, isn't it? Just one simple mod like recolor can go such a long way for just adding variation. Another university over here before we do spill back into the edge of the map with the sprawl. So the map of Tampere has changed significantly. If you're wondering the kind of the perspective here, the kind of the Tampere main harbour is here with the larger lake being up this one, but obviously with vast amounts of terraforming and heavy time building this build, it's changed significantly into an absolutely monstrous city with 1.5 million people. But otherwise, guys, we'll leave it there. Massive shout out to Gwendala for sending this in. This is currently the largest city we have received. I think it probably will remain so for the foreseeable. It's such a shame we can't run them. Hopefully, Colossal Order's continued improvements to CS, eventually they will come to address this. Essentially, 0 simulation speed at a city of this size. Again, it is hard to run a city of this size, but you know, better than snail's pace would be nice. As the person that submitted this city asked for feedback on industrial areas, we kind of spoke about how you can use the props already on the building to kind of naturally expand the places and the spaces and the alleyways around those buildings just to add a bit more authenticity to it. That's definitely how I approach my industrial building. And I think with the larger commercial spaces, you also want to feedback on as well. Definitely just look to break up those huge grey textures. I know car parks are made up of a lot of concrete, but in CS it can look a little bit daunting. So I think looking to mix and match those textures and surfaces around, that really helps me just add a little bit of a grass strip or a grass median in a massive car park like that can make all the difference. Massive shout out to all the patrons that support the channel, with a special roll call to Louis Adlam, Andrew Perez, and O'Hare Casino. Glad to get involved in Patreon down below with Instant Gaming, which are the best ways to support the channel. And don't forget to check out the Finland vlog that went up on the channel this week as well. We did kind of document our trip to meet Colossal Order and Paradox this week, so check it out if you haven't already. Either way, if you would like to submit a city for City Showcase, please fill out the Google form down below, and I will do my best to showcase your city. Otherwise, massive thanks to Gwendala for this one. Mainland City is a beautiful and absolutely vast city. Otherwise, I'll shut up and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.